If you're looking for the part 2 related to the Dynatrace Perform episode, then this episode is for you. Welcome back to the Is It Observable YouTube channel. Today's episode, as you can see, we don't have the traditional background. It's going to be a bit special because, in fact, it's the second part of the episode related to Dynatrace Perform. In the first episode, we covered a lot of things about OpenTelemetry, Kubernetes, the live debugger provided by the Rockout team. And now today's episode will be mainly focused on topics related to platform engineering, cost optimizations, and also developer experience. So we will have a couple of interviews with product managers. We will have interviews, of course, with partners, and of course with Dynamite, which are experts from the Dynatrace community. So if you enjoyed today's content, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. So follow me in Las Vegas.
As well, right? I've seen you there.
That's true. So could you explain what was the purpose of the use cases? What did we share to the audience?
So we still have some use cases that we get to go into in the afternoon.
Yeah.
But our goal with those use cases was really to show immediately the value with this pick and choose situation of use cases. So we talk about platform engineering a lot, and we think that platform engineering is something that we will see throughout the year and years actually being more adopted as a mentality, as a mindset. But you don't have to start with the mindset and the culture. You can start, because that's the difficult part to change, right? Changing people, changing organization. We heard that on main stage as well today from Dell. But what we can actually do is we can use those use cases already to provide value. And when you provide value, more change follows organically. So this is why we chose this use case approach to explaining what we do as Dynatrace ourselves as well in a sense of platform engineering culture.
And I think what is important is at the end, if you want to be able to automate or to bring value to the organizations or to be more efficient, you rely on data. So if you don't have enough data within Dynatrace, you cannot put the right workflows or put the right automation in place.
Yeah.
And so I know that there were several use cases mentioned, and one that was interesting, I thought there was...
Was it your use case that's
Yeah, of course it was mine, the self-healing. It was the best one of the story.
Yeah, perfect.
But yesterday I had a discussion with Mark, and Mark mentioned something that just blew my mind. I said, oh, this is something that a platform engineer should implement. And he mentioned that we should measure. We all, as a platform engineer, we are focused on the resources, the cost of the platform. But he said, yeah, but so also we should also be consider the actual value of giving applications. So if the project A consume, let's say, $100 for this to host on daily basis the applications, but I would say that the business that they provide for the organization is 1,000, then the balance is okay. But if we have the opposite, where a team is very expensive to host, then at the end you can figure out, okay, do I really do the right thing with this project? Should I maybe optimize something? So do we have something? I know that the Site Guardians is a way of more on the quality aspects, but do we have something that we are going to help our customers on going on that direction?
So to really link what you're actually doing as a platform engineer with the business impact it has, right?
Yes.
If I understood correctly. That's something that the literature on platform engineering is struggling a bit as well.
Yeah.
And this is why I was super happy to be joined also by Klaus on stage to bring this business flow information and this attachment into it, because it allows platform engineers actually to very easily show their immediate impact that they have with what they're doing. And if you look at a non-software company, right? So you can't look at Dynatrace for that, because obviously software is what we sell, what we do. It's our prime value stream, right? But for other verticals, when looking at their prime value stream, it doesn't include IT. And it doesn't include the software that you build with IT. And it damn well doesn't include the platform that you use to build the software that you have in IT, right? Like you go like these levels down. So if you have a platform engineer who's able to link what he's doing or how he's helping developers, driving developer experience, if you have that tied into the business impact that it makes, you get immediate feedback and show that what you actually do is very valuable, right?
And then it's also, I think it's an enabler. It's a way of motivating the engineers as well. Yep. If I realize that my work is super important because then I help the business or I help my organizations to make the figures, I think that is really great in terms of motivation as well. Because you realize that you're part of something.
Yeah. I think it's the whole. This is where all of this developer experience comes in, right? And I like that we start to talk more about developer experience, because before it was a lot of developer productivity and like how many pull requests get reviewed, how many pull requests do you get through every month.
How many bugs.
Yes, and like those are metrics that people used to turn into goals, which destroyed the whole purpose of those metrics, because if those are goals you need to achieve, then well, you can achieve them, right?
Yeah.
When you just slice and dice differently and you have more pull requests that get through, right? So it's like by changing this talk to developer experience and with what's the platform engineering mindset with like helping the developers, making them happier, sounds cheesy, but making them happier, but also understanding what they're doing and what they need, and fulfilling those needs, like reducing cognitive load, reducing manual toil, providing golden paths, providing ways how they can easily onboard new services, etc. Right? Like it's not rocket science, but it immediately impacts them and helps them to be more productive. And today on main stage, when we saw the stats that Andy showed with Marcio together, that what was it? I think 40% of the time a developer spends is productively spent. And I used that number a few times with customers as well when we discussed it, and I was like, well, what do you think about this number? And more than once I got the feedback, well,
that's
ours is probably lower. Like they were not shocked. It was like 40%. Yeah, ours is probably more like 30.
Wow.
So I think that's really, by focusing on this developer experience, this automatically becomes better because they're more in the zone, they're more in the flow, you know, like they don't need to worry about restarting a service. They don't need to worry about, well, there's a new service I want to build, I need the repo, which infrastructure, what's the request allocation that I need, like all of this stuff that he don't need, like why should they care about infrastructure? Right? So.
people are embracing now, really trying to get this whole technical stuff that we are so excited about, bringing it to the next level, bringing it to the businesses.
So could you, is there, I guess, busy events with the DQL? It was already announced last year. And now, I guess, the fact that we have workflow, we have a lot of things. So could you maybe explain a couple of use cases of what we can achieve through the usage of busy events?
It is for our customers always a similar journey. They start with the first business event, getting the quality data in that they need for their analytics for a certain problem. And then they move on, put it on a dashboard. And once they have it there, they start thinking about like, yeah, now I have this critical step in the business process. So they are moving into business process monitoring. That's where we today on main stage announced the new BizFlow app enhancements. Really great opportunity to monitor your business process in real time. And from there, they're seeing then in the BizFlow app, people dropping out, people struggling in certain steps, some processes dying. Think about it. You're ordering an iPhone online. Usually we, as Dynatrace, focused on the first part of the journey, like getting the funnel, basically, visibility. But that doesn't mean that you're a happy customer just because you got your order in. You're only happy if you, at the far end, actually get the device in your hand. And with the BizFlow app, we allow you to really end-to-end stitch this journey together.
So visualize the actual biz events or the funnel, the business funnel of the applications.
Yeah, the full journey. And as they see these dropouts, companies start to want to react to it. If they're one company that is only in food delivery, and guess what? There was a problem in a handshake with a third party, and that problem caused people to get their food delivered 1 or 2 hours later than expected. So while you order it for noon, you may have gotten it somewhere in the middle in the afternoon. Is that amazing? They wanted to react to it. They want a real-time reaction to it because that is shitty customer experience. That's what's happening here. And this is really the 3 steps that we see. It's like capture the first biz event, solve a small first problem, and figure out that it's part of a longer business process, and then start automating the remediation. And the remediation, when you think about not getting your food, is not that you start a bouncer server. It's really outreach to the customer. Maybe sending out a voucher or just say, sorry, it takes longer this time. Something that gives the customer at least the feeling that you're aware of the struggle.
So you can react based on situations. I know that you're also covering another really cool topic within Dynatrace that is pretty very useful, especially now with the explosion of data centers. It's the notion of carbon footprints. Could you explain a bit about this?
Yeah, last year we announced Carbon Impact App, and then we teamed up with Lloyd's over the past year, and you may have seen yesterday great presentation from Kevin Bird on like how they are embracing Dynatrace and all the abilities to optimize carbon footprint in the data centers. Because recent study says, yes, today it is 2% of the global energy consumption going into our data centers, but we know that with the AI, it's expected in 2 years to double. 4% of all energy will go in our data centers. So we at least have to make sure that we do our best to remove shitty code that consumes useless CPU cycles, that produce energy consumption. We have to really optimize on all levels. Data center, host level, remove idle hosts, remove oversized containers, but also go into the architecture of applications, remove useless cycles between services, really focusing on getting that done.
And in the end, if you reduce the energy utilized by the application, you are also, if you are in Amazon or GCP or Azure, you're also saving cost as well.
Absolutely, and that's why also the carbon impact app that we have today is going to transform into carbon and cost optimization.
So you will have the both angles covered.
Yes, pretty soon you have their AWS costs coming in, and we really work on giving these recommendations out there in a useful way with a little workflow behind it, allowing you to investigate always in context of smart scaling.
I heard that you had a breakout session yesterday.
I did.
So could you tell us about what was the content of that, the topic that you covered during this
Absolutely.
breakout?
So my breakout session was at a high level about the benefits of combining load testing in APM in pre-production, and then more specifically about the advantages of Neoload and Dynatrace together.
So it means that there is an integration. So could you tell us a bit more about this integration?
Yeah, absolutely. So let's maybe talk about the value first, right? So the idea is that we want to introduce load testing earlier in the application lifecycle, component load testing, unit load testing, all the benefits that the functional automation people have been talking about forever, shift left testing, is now better realized in the load testing space, right? Because we've got microservices and APIs and applications that are structured more to that end. So if I can find a performance anomaly earlier, faster for the developers to fix, cheaper for the developers to fix. But in addition to load testing those components, we have to be able to have some kind of insight into the back end of an application to be able to identify the root cause. It's great to find out that the performance from a round trip time standpoint of a component doesn't meet its requirements, but if I don't know why, I can't solve that. So being able to bring an APM into that conversation together, significant value in terms of finding root cause. The integration that Neoload has specifically with Dynatrace is kind of multi-factor, but at a high level, what we're doing is ultimately pushing performance-related metrics, load testing-related metrics into the Dynatrace dashboard so that the operations people can see the metrics from the two tools combined in a single pane of glass. Or for the view of the performance engineer, the load testing engineer, we're also pulling Dynatrace measurements that are made by one agent into our dashboarding for the same purpose, right? So different audiences might have different preferences in which dashboard they want to look at. That from the load testing solution, or that from the from your side on the Dynatrace side, it's the same data. Complementary performance data from two views of the application together on top of each other, far better, far more effective root cause analysis.
So if I want to utilize this integration, so what would be the requirements? What should I need to do? Do I need to install any components? What do I need to do?
No, nothing really. All we're really doing is tying the two tools together through the APIs that both tools have available. So simply, if one is using Neoload, they would go into a preference setting and turn on checkmark, which is a significant advantage compared to integrating other load testing tools into Dynatrace, where there's a lot of scripting that needs to be involved, or a lot of sort of plug-in creation that needs to be happening under the covers. Ours, it's 3 seconds and you've got an integration. We also leverage the tags that you have developed on your side. So if an ops person or a developer or whoever is using Dynatrace has got tags wrapped around services and whatnot, those tags are strings inside of our interface, inside of our preferences, that allow you to indicate what metrics you want to pull into our side.
And I think you also keep track. You're also keeping track of the test that has been executed on various components of the architecture. So
Yes.
people, the ops team or the performance engineer or the platform engineer knows that at that time frame on that component there was a load test running.
That's absolutely right. Yeah, so we log the appropriate events inside of your side because of the APIs we have. Oh, one other thing I should also make mention, we also are tagging all the HTTP requests that are coming in from our side with attributes which are important to you. So if a engineer is looking inside of Dynatrace and they see a particular request which is performing inadequately, they can tie that back to which load test, which script, which load generator, which transaction inside the script, et cetera, again, to accelerate that root cause analysis.
So the market is the performance engineering market has obviously evolved. All the people are pushing heavily the modern approach where testing cannot be done at the very end anymore. We need to be proactive and start testing early as possible. But this is more like a pitch. But in reality, you are talking to customers. How do you see it? Do you see that those customers are already using that approach, or is it already too?
It's evolving.
Okay.
It's evolving. So just as a data point, I gave a similar presentation at the show here last year, and at the start of my discussion, I asked the audience how many people are doing shift left performance testing. In a room of about 120, 130 people, 4 people raised their hand maybe. I asked that same audience yesterday, and probably half raised their hands. So clearly there's awareness.
So things moving now.
Definitely moving.
All right. So so testing earlier means that you need to build test scripts. So depending on the application, it could be quite a challenge to test very early on development because you do a lot of maintenance in your script. So do this approach require specific applications or?
Yeah, and I disagree with you because I think that if we're testing early, scripts don't typically fall into the complex scripting that you would see if you're doing it end-to-end. Person logs into an application, does some stuff, logs out. If we're shifting left, it's an API. It's a microservice call. It's a database query. And so scripts are 1 or 2 lines of code. And they certainly can be written inside of our GUI. Our value prop is faster, more productive scripting versus some of the other tools in our space. But if a developer doesn't want to have another GUI to open, we have a DSL as well. So they can write a YAML file to define that script very easily and then feed that into our replay engine.
And also, next question will be more on what the news about Neoload, because there is obviously a lot of things has been changing, a lot of things has been probably new features have been coming up. So could you share some news about the
sure.
product?
So certainly we continue to invest in our core value prop, which is productivity, right? So the idea is that the tasks of a performance engineer, creating scripts, running tests, analyzing results, we're trying to make all those things far more productive so that we can get to the root cause and ultimately deploy faster applications more effectively. And so we continue to build on the APIs and the scripting and so on. But maybe more specifically on the analysis side, we are investing a significant amount of our development time right now in our results engine, both from what's inside the engine and the presentation layer. So for those of the folks that know our terminology, Neoload Web is the component of our platform which is primarily the results dashboard. And as I mentioned, the engine is basically being ripped apart and put back together again,
okay,
so that we can add a lot of additional functionality in terms of intelligence results analysis, being able to do trend analysis and just far more powerful analysis in an automated fashion. And we're going to start to see some of that towards the end of the year this year. What we'll see sooner in a matter of a couple of weeks probably is a new presentation layer. So the byproduct of the revamp of the whole results engine is a new GUI. So it's going to just look a lot nicer. As you know, we're a product of an acquisition, and so putting Tricentis face on Neoload so it looks like the rest of our products, and in addition to that, adding some additional results functionality that we've been sort of lacking a little bit. But after we get through this initial GUI release, it's going to change the game in terms of results analysis as we start to see some of these new things we're talking about.
So Tricentis is one of the key players in the testing space. So I know there is a lot of different tools. Does Neoload also integrate with other tool suites of Tricentis?
Yeah, absolutely. So specifically with our test management solution, Qtest, and with our functional automation tool, Tosca. On the Qtest side, we have an integration that essentially allows the test management individual, the stakeholder on that side that may not be interested in what's going on from a scripting standpoint, but they want to know, do I have the proper test coverage? Is my test being executed? Like any test management person would want to. And so because of the integration, we can now get a sense in the Qtest dashboarding of of those things. What tests have been run, what the results, what's passed, what's failed. It's all linked together very nicely. When a load test has been run with Neoload, there are results links pushed back to Qtest. They can click on a link in Qtest, take you right to the results dashboard inside of the web analysis engine of Neoload. So just tying these things all together very nicely. On the functional side, the integration with Tosca allows me to accelerate load testing script creations quite a bit.
Okay. So at the end, you're trying to make more efficient analysis by combining APM. You're trying to report results quicker to the various teams with the help of Qtest, and you're saving time by utilizing the integration Tosca.
Absolutely.
I'm a global solutions architect with RedHat, working within our ecosystem team and working with partners like Dynatrace.
So you are here at Perform, and usually at Perform there is a lot of different sessions, and especially breakout sessions. So are you presenting any sessions during Perform?
Yes, I am. I'm actually presenting a session tomorrow, Thursday at 11 o'clock. This is around intelligent automation at scale with RedHat and Dynatrace with Kristof Renders from Dynatrace, and who is a Services Innovation Director. And we're going to be talking a little bit about how we are combining RedHat and Dynatrace solutions to bring even more value to our customers.
So just a few minutes ago, we were talking about the fact that RedHat is putting a lot of effort to improve the developer experience.
Right.
And I'm just for maybe for those who are listening here, it's a bit unclear on what is actually, what does that mean? What is a developer experience, and how can we improve that developer experience?
Right. So we've heard, even at Rick's keynote this morning, that developer experience and developer productivity is the key to delivering applications to the business. And so what does a developer experience mean? A developer experience means a lot of things. It means the daily things that developers do, the tools and the solutions that they use to build and test and deliver their applications. And so part of that experience is the platforms that they use to develop these applications. And the other part is, we refer to DevOps. And so really, the developer experience really spans all of that. And it's becoming a key ingredient for businesses to deliver applications to their customers so that they can have these successful customer experiences and enjoyable customer experiences and see their growth in the business, in the market.
So you mentioned that platform engineering is also improving somehow the developer experience, and RedHat has lots of various products in various areas to providing a lot of value to the market. What is the product that will help the developer experience in RedHat portfolio?
Right, great question, and I think that kind of leads into why RedHat is here and why is RedHat working with Dynatrace. So let me start off with that question first, which is RedHat has something that they released with general availability just recently, past January, which is called RedHat Developer Hub. And what RedHat Developer Hub is really an enterprise-grade internal developer portal platform. And what it is based on the CNCF Backstage project. And Red Hat has now become a key contributor to that Backstage project. And we are really contributing very heavily into the upstream. And then we are bringing it as an enterprise-grade solution to customers where they can customize the way that their developers interact with a platform to code, build, test, deliver applications.
So in Red Hat, and in Backstage specifically, do you deliver it in a SaaS, or you also have a managed versions for your customers? How can they take advantage of this enterprise version of Backstage?
Right. So what Red Hat offers today is really a managed version of this service. Maybe in the future, maybe there is a SaaS platform somewhere, but not right now. But we do offer a managed service for our customers. And what that does is it helps bring things that, for example, customers use, developers use today, right? So think about IDE, right? Think about bringing in a CI/CD system to build your applications. Think about security scanning as part of that process. Think about how you're going to deliver that application finally, right? So all of these ingredients are successful, and you start seeing this picture where developers are now starting to interact through this platform, developer platform, with all of these systems and toolings. And so it's really bringing that unified experience to developers and a unified platform for developers across the organization to interact. And so it brings a lot of interesting possibilities with it. And one of those big possibilities is with Dynatrace today.
So in Backstage, you have the ability to have like a catalog of solutions where you can pick and choose to build your internal development platform. Do you provide with this enterprise version of Backstage a pre-built catalog of applications? So the effort is the onboarding is faster, and then you can also take advantage of all this catalog already. Is it the case?
So great question, Hendrik. So I think that is the case for sure, is that Red Hat Developer Hub comes with a set of plugins that is pre-built, right? And we already provide with it. But going forward, just like you mentioned a software catalog for Backstage, we are going to be providing a software catalog with Red Hat Developer Hub. And what that implies is that there is this concept of dynamic plugins. So it's like a catalog where customers can choose what to bring into their developer experience. And so that leads to a great segue into where does Dynatrace fit in, right?
Completely, yeah. So it means that now monitoring is one of the predefined catalog in your Backstage enterprise version?
Exactly. Red Hat and Dynatrace have been talking very recently about developing a plugin, or maybe even a set of plugins in the future. And part of that is to bring in the complete observability experience into the developer experience. And what does that mean, right? So practically on the ground, what that means is today you see things like problems or alerts being generated in Dynatrace. How does that impact the developer experience? So let's take a couple of examples of that. The developer is here today. He's developing code. As part of developing that code, are there things that he needs to be aware of around code security, around code analysis? Maybe we can bring some of that in. When he's building the application, are there security vulnerabilities that are detected? Or is the application that he's developing conforming to quality guardrails that your organization has put around it? Is it complying with audit and compliance requirements? Or take, for that matter, performance. Is it performing at a point which is bringing a great customer experience to your customers, right? So all of these or potential things that can be brought into the developer experience. And now you can see how this is going to really supercharge that developer experience.
I did already 2 breakouts today. I started this morning with the breakout on FinOps. Right, of course you probably have seen, or when you see the recap of the Perform, seen the main stage announcements of what we do in that space. And I was just diving a little bit deeper in what that actually means.
So what does that mean? So could you explain us what
Yeah.
FinOps means in a from a Dynatrace perspective?
Yeah, well, to me, FinOps means just having a framework to deal responsibly with how you build and operate applications from a financial perspective,
Yep.
right? Making sure that when you make a decision on running an app or scaling up an app or deploying an app, that it's done and it's built in the right way, in a conscious way.
And so you're measuring the actual cost of the application as well, or?
Yeah, yeah. So
And is there also like before just measuring the cost, saying, this cost you, let's say, $50, but you're not using it so much, maybe you should consider to use some improvement to save some energy, also some money.
Yeah, well, energy and money, you bring up a very good topic, right? Because cost and carbon are very closely intertwined. But to answer your question, a very big part of what we do is doing what we call cost allocation, right? So looking at a particular characteristic, like an owner or a particular application, and then assigning a cost value to it. Yeah? And so by being able to do that, any company can start looking at, well, do we have any hotspots? Are there teams that are spending more than others? Are there applications that are more expensive than others? And then what we do with that information is, of course, what makes it tick, because any cloud provider can tell you these servers are costing you this much, or these servers are oversized. When you sign into like GCP console or something like that, you'll see that this server could be scaled down. That is not really that impressive, but what we do with that information is take the context back, right? So when there is a server and we have identified it as it is oversized, we can actually tell you what the business value is that it is generating. What are the applications running on it? What are the services running on it? And what are the customers, or how many customers is this machine potentially serving, right?
So at the end, technically, we can measure the actual cost of hosting this application, and then the revenue that this application generates, and say, okay, so this cost is here, the revenue is here, so we are worth it. But we can also measure the opposite, say, this application it costs a lot, but we don't have much money going back in the pocket.
Exactly. It's that correlation between technical information and business information that makes it super, super valuable. And to take that a step further, right, we can also look at proactively alerting people, right? So imagine that you have a development force or a large group of people who are building and testing apps and deploying them, right? We can actually say, well, look, you've been running this app or this machine for a week or whatever, however long, a month, 3 months, a year. We actually notice that it never really goes over a certain resource consumption. We're just going to notify the owner, right? So that they are aware of it, because often people don't necessarily think about it. It's kind of the blessing and the curse of the cloud, right? It's so easy to spin up infrastructure, but it's so easy to spin up infrastructure, right? So it's, how big a server do you need? I don't know, right? So you just select
the biggest
one. I'm not paying for it, right? You're kind of like that kind of mentality, which is fine, because when you're innovating and when you're building and when you're trying to figure out things, then it's okay. You just get what you think you need. But then the problem is that people afterwards forget to right size, right? And so what we're trying to do, and what we can do with Dynatrace, is bring that mentality of sustainability and cost consciousness up front into people's minds.
So you mentioned 3 breakouts, so one on FinOps, which is an amazing topic, by the way.
Yeah.
But what are the others?
Yeah, so one is maybe a little bit different, because I talk with my group and the architects on my team. We always talk about new innovative ways of leveraging our platform. But I also went to take a couple of steps back, and I looked at, well, we have so many customers here at Perform who are maybe not using Dynatrace for a year, right? They're new, they want to learn. So we looked at the top 4 use cases, things that you can do to get started in your journey with Dynatrace.
So what type of could you make an example of a use case that would be beneficial, that a new customer could be interested in?
Yeah. So the first thing that we talk about is, getting insights into your user's experience, right? But also their journey. What are they doing on your application? Like, how is the funnel looking like, right? But are there certain actions that they are doing that maybe, they're not going so well, right? How is the conversion looking? How do we have particular pages that people drop off of? So that's the first one, like getting insights. Data is knowledge, right? Data is power. So you want to know how your users are using your app. So that's the first one. And then the second one is, well, when something is not going so well, triaging that, right? So it's if you think about it, it's knowing how people are leveraging your app and then being able to do something about it very easily when it's not going so well.
So are you, pure guessing, is it going to be managing your issues or problems based on burn rates that you have, the SLO and the burn rates?
It could be based on that, right?
Okay.
So it could be that you're mapping out your objectives, your SLOs, your service level objectives in your app, and you notice that, hey, one of my objectives, I'm going through my burn rate quite quickly. Why is that, right? Because a burn rate is just an indicator, right?
Yes.
It's just something like, it's a check engine light that turns on, but why is that on? So we actually showed them how they can triage that.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So do you have is it a specific customer use case that you are highlighting during this breakout?
So this breakout was purely on best practices on getting started. It was very, I would say, general information. It was not specific to a customer because all of them can do it. That's the beauty of it, right? It's not just that we made it work with this customer. No, any customer can do this.
Okay. As a director of innovations, you have probably different architects or consultants or a services team that are working in this area.
Mm-hmm.
So could you explain us what is the team working on? How your team is helping customers? What is your how you deliver?
Yeah. So, of course, as part of our charter, right, we drive innovation, but how do we do that? We mainly look at it from a use case perspective. Dynatrace is an amazing platform, has amazing capabilities. Every day it amazes me, all the things that we can do, but those are just tools, right? That's like having a hammer and a screwdriver, right? Yeah. By themselves, you're not going to be able to do much with it. It's only when you can solve problems with these tools that your customers will perceive the benefit from it. So my team is constantly on the hunt for new ways of leveraging our platform, and that is why FinOps, for example, came out to be, and one of the topics that we are focusing on is because in the end we have all the information, right?
That's true.
It's using the information and slicing and dicing it and presenting in a particular way and building automation around it that we can solve problems that our customers are having, which actually ties us very closely to the third breakout that I'm having, which is together with our esteemed partner RedHat, we talk about automation, right? How both of our companies working together can truly drive self-remediation within our customers' environments.
Is it the usage of the new Ansible, the events that I don't remember the exact name?
Event-driven Ansible.
Event-driven Ansible.
Yeah.
So is it by using this?
It's actually both. So we have Ansible automation platform, right? The classic Ansible, the Ansible that has been around for a while, which we can integrate with. But then we're also talking about event-driven Ansible, the new way of working things around.
So
Ansible.
because now with the workflows, we can already use a lot of remediation and self-healing from a Dynatrace perspective. Mm-hmm. So here it's more if our users are using Ansible, then we can, from a workflow perspective, we can say now trigger that playbook, for example, in Ansible.
Yeah.
But technically, we could have be doing everything directly in Dynatrace, possibly.
Yeah, depending on the remediation, right? And I think that's where our collaboration with RedHat is so valuable because we have all the information about our problem. Something goes wrong, we can tell our customers this is the root cause. These people are, or these users are impacted. These services are impacted, right? We have all the information to resolve a problem, and by using that information, we can trigger a remediation action. Now, if the remediation action is, let's say, triggering an API or something like that, so we can do that directly in Dynatrace. But certain remediation steps require something to be executed on the edge, right? On a machine directly, right? And this is where our
Ansible-
partnership with
Ansible comes into
Ansible
picture.
comes into play, because they know how to do that. They've been doing that for so long. They are the best at that. We are the best of the best in what we do, and together we can solve problems for real.
My name is Gil Givati. I'm coming from Metrics, Israel. We are the RFO of Dynatrace, mainly the Dynatrace local office, and I'm responsible for all the technical aspects of working in Israel, starting off pre-sales SEs all the way to professional services support, implementation, and evangelizing all of the great new stuff within the new platform.
So I can see here that on your shirt, you have Partner Pro Club, Dynatrace
Yes.
Partner Pro Club.
Yes.
So what does that mean? Could you tell us about what is it?
Yeah, so Dynatrace is working very intensively with partners, and as part of that, partners who are certified in terms of their professional certification. You know, we are always encouraging more certifications. So partners who have received the professional certifications are part of this a unique club that gets to speak to product managers, gets to see new technologies, and also, in a way, try those new technologies beforehand, before the market, just to get a feel and provide feedback to the organization.
So you're meaning that you have the keys, the secret keys to get to the R&D directly.
I'm sorry, but I'm not allowed to speak about that.
So you mentioned that you had a competition about the App Engine and building applications. So could you
Yes.
share a bit more about that?
Yeah, so there was a hackathon, let's call that that way, about partners developing applications using the new App Engine. As part of that, we had about a month to develop an application, try to utilize as many capabilities of the App Engine, and come up with a solution. Fortunately, mine came second.
Okay.
and
what was the use case?
So we were, I was actually building a framework to automate and consolidate all of the process of working with an organization to develop and define SLOs.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so basically we're currently seeing that it's easy to define the SLO, right, for app decks on user action or availability, but it's for that specific service. But when you come to organization, the process starts long before that. What is your organization? What is your app? What it is comprised of? Okay, so how do you define a measurement? And it's not just the single performance SLO or health SLO. It's a combination of that, and using the App Engine and Grail as a document service and the easy integration to all of the different capabilities within the platform. The app is actually consolidating the whole process, starting with a business discussion, describing requirements, the hierarchies and things like that, eventually saying, okay, these are my bottom level SLOs, and then clicking on a button and through automation just creating all of the rest of the SLOs.
So because that's true that often it's very complicated for customers saying, oh, I want to implement the SLO approach, I want to have a specific SLI in place, but it's very difficult to say, okay, which SLO should I put in place? So at the end, what you're built is guiding the user on which SLO they have to build?
So it's not necessarily guiding because there isn't one correct way, right? But the whole process of discussing this with the organization, And I've had several discussions with our customers, and also over here in the past 2 days that I'm already here. The process itself is an ongoing. Now, I believe that the whole process from beginning to end should be handled at the same place, right?
Yes.
That's why we brought Grail with Dynatrace, okay, to put all data into the same lake house and contextualize everything. So with that, if we're starting with the business descriptions inside Dynatrace, and then we move it to another person who is the technical guy, just to say, well, let's just define those requirements within Dynatrace and then monitor that within Dynatrace. We are dealing with, just like what Rick McConnell said today, the tools problem. Okay, so let's consolidate that into a single place that we can define that.
Do you often, for example, guide customers, or customer says, "Oh, I want to have Dynatrace, but I have specific data. Could you help me to build something?"
Yeah, yes, definitely, and that's one of the great reasons why I do love the App Engine, because we were on a partner summit yesterday, and one of the key themes in the session was reuse. Reuse knowledge, reuse efforts, reuse code, reuse everything, automate, right? So the reusable is automation, and which means will be more available to deal with the important stuff actually. So yes, as part of that, App Engine gives us the possibility to automate everything. That together with workflows, for example, or anything else would just open up possibilities. So it's endless possibilities, and as part of that, yes, we are instructing and helping customers, okay, here's your ID, let's go ahead and do that. Let's go ahead and find a way to automate that.
And I guess from a partner perspective, compared to the second generation of the Dynatrace product, the new platform give you more freedom to customize or provide more valuable assets to the user, because you have this app engine, like you mentioned, the ability to build your own dashboards, build your own workflows, even build maybe tasks that will be used in a workflow.
Correct.
So I think for you, there is even more options to help your customers.
Correct.
If the community is interested on the work that you've done on the App Engine and or want to learn more about how you can get onboarded on App Engine, how can they get information about Matrix or about yourself?
So first of all, I'm in the Dynatrace community, which is one of the first places I recommend people to go ahead and join. So they can look me up under Gil Gi, Gil G, and contact me directly, and I'll be happy to answer and share the knowledge within the community. So not just one can receive the answers, but many of them.
That's it for today's episode related to Dynatrace Perform. Again, a lot of, I think, interesting news about providing real examples to the community on how Dynatrace can help our community, specifically in specific use cases for platform engineering. So Michael Winkler explained all the approach related to that. We had also Kristof covering lots of different breakouts, but I think the one with cost optimizations, or with the details provided by Klaus, was very exciting. So if you enjoyed today's content, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. So see you soon for a traditional episode about a technology. See you. Bye.